saying that since the advent of 21st century, the most dominant sector that has created highest economic value and that has contributed mostly to economic growth um, across developing countries as well as developed countries is the services sector, largely explained as financial sector, telecommunication sector, education sector, legal services, medical services, uh, and etc. Could be art, aesthetics as well. Services sector is oriented towards not only technology but productivity, and therefore, these AI language models, advanced AI language models, or any information technology would be oriented towards facilitating services sector primarily. That is usually called as development of software programming, whereas applications are developed to facilitate and provide digital services, while facilitating other sectors within the services sector, like financial sector, telecommunication sector, as well as telecommunication sector, would create the hardware, fifth generation technologies, telecommunication technologies, as well as internet and intranet, as well as the world of social media and digital media. Well, no, that is pretty good. But then, the point is that despite all this technology, education sector should still orient creative pedagogies, while the students would still be, learning through standard pedagogy techniques, lectures, lecture rooms, solving equations, writing essays, learning about science, going to the laboratories. But at the same time, they will be facilitated by internet. That information that is provided in internet by professionals, professors, educationists, research institutes, depending on the level of education. So that's pretty much clear. But more importantly, my interest for some time has been to understand how we can include substantially and more robustly, human value system, which talks about our social values like noble human values like trust, compassion, kindness, ethics, uh, resilience, while at the same time, it could be observed all across Pakistan. Pakistani nation is trustworthy, kind. Pakistani nation is resilient, brave. Pakistani nation is ethical because Pakistan has a strong cultural orientation in traditions, and that tradition is oriented towards Islam. And similar stories are across the world. While identity crisis is something which needs to be understood, disrupting, social identities within diverse communities, secular societies even. But then, how to orient it? I mean, it appeared to be I am doing some kind of a linking economics with religion or culture with religion, while there is modern culture, there is traditional culture, and there is some great synergies within those cultures, even aesthetics, music, and art. But at the same time, through linguistics, everybody is, in the modern world, in the globalized world, is familiar with interesting synergies between modern and traditional societies. And that's okay. Liberalism receding would actually be translated into greater synergies between traditional and modern value system, whereas traditional value system is based on religions and spirituality, which is such a great thing if it does not lead to exploitation under Hindutva rule in India, or certain behaviors which would lead to certain Hindutva behaviors. So uh, it is the story is fine, but how to then orient it in economics? And yes, it is today. My wife Amna Dawood's help was indeed something which fascinated me. Resulting into this discussion, this brief discussion. So what I'm saying is that okay, how to orient it? First, it would come as feminist economics. Let's look at it, feminist studies, because let's work on methodologies of value creation, economic value creation, by understanding gender issues. Women who are also formally educated would then be responsible for taking care of the family and the household, while men who are formally educated would most probably be contributing towards the formal economy with formal labor market, uh, and utilizing at the best of their labor productivity. While there is a significant in urban areas, even in Pakistan, women are also working. For example, our Chief Minister Mariam Nawaz Sharif is a lady and a professional, a leader, and highly intelligent, promoting values within leadership and politics. In Pakistani politics, the values should be interpreted as, promoting trustworthy leadership, promoting ethical leadership. But at the same time, I would know economist as well. Mariam Aurangzeb, Honorable Minister in Punjab government. She did her degree in economics from Kaiser University as well. And she's an economist, but she's a policy maker. Now you would understand, I am an academic. I have an issue to then really orient my discussion. And then I said, okay, let's start understanding it towards understanding feminist aspects. But yes, in feminist economics, I have a perspective that feminism should be deeply rooted in traditional cultural understandings. Islamic culture gives great empowerment to women, but it can be linked with the needs of the modern world. That's pretty good as well. So the issue is really about economic value creation. I mean appreciation, empowerment of women, which represents sharing of values, noble values, might not really be considered as economics. Economics, some or other, would be related with material value creation. And then, what framework would I use? I have tried to define those noble human values, link it with economics, utilize Bradford D. Long's guidelines to say, okay, gift can as well be the exchange value of, of exchange value as an alternate to currency. Still, his argument is not convincing. So, services sector, that is highly productive sector, that depends on formally educated, well-trained, highly skilled labor, both men and women, would then provide a guideline. And what is that guideline? It's a very interesting guideline. Services sector, within services sector, telecommunication, there is standard economics, public sector facilitation, or telecommunication companies, which is a private sector enterprise. Yes, there would be the specific jargon which would be used in telecommunication sector to then understand economics. But the framework would be about private enterprise, telecommunication companies, and how the government is regulating telecommunication sector. But at the same time, education economics, it is about public sector education, private sector education, university education, pedagogies. There's not much economics in it. Quality of education, quantity of education, yes. How government would promote education by allocating funds, that's economics. How quality of education is improved through introduction of technology, while technology is something budgeting, but that's not macroeconomics. The best economics could be identifying whether an education institute is in public sector or private sector. But there is great economics available about financial services and financial sector, secondary markets, amazing economics. Banking sector, amazing economics, financial derivatives, financial instruments, currency in circulation, central bank's role, finance ministry, government's role. So there's limited guideline. And then I realized there is no word such as services economics. There is agriculture university, there is agriculture economics, there is industrial economics, there are universities, engineering universities, where industrial economics is taught and it's more relevant. There is financial economics, there is regulatory economics, but not Services economics, services, which we, I think the better word is services sector economics, because services economics doesn't go well with each other. It doesn't sound so convincing. So there is industrial economics, there is agricultural economics, there is international trade, trade economics, there is monetary economics, there is development economics, there is economics for sustainable development, there is economics still of policy research as well, but no generalized services economics framework. That word just doesn't exist. And if I want to add to the knowledge base, and then maybe future economists from Kaiser University, brilliant students, or from University of Management Sciences, LUMS, UMT, Superior University, wherever brilliant economic professors are teaching economics, both at graduate and undergraduate level, but then maybe add to theory and even methodologies that would allow us to understand that if I say human values and how they should be, the values should be directed towards market outcomes other than measuring them through monetary terms, would then need this framework which would be called services sector economics to then instead of saying I've contributed into spiritual economics, religious economics, cultural economics. My friend, this is what this word, why it is so significant, this understanding, is because it's an introduction to a framework, to a horizon of knowledge that can happen in economics, with a lot of work that can come, serious work by young economists, to then allow us to find traditional non-economic values, which are inherently about noble human values and how they are expressed, and thereby, greater definitions and larger perspectives of value creation that might then add to feminist economics with a cultural explanation, traditional explanation that how women should even be empowered, while at the same time, the noble human values that women empowerment in traditional societies represent could not be measured through monetary exchange value, but then there could be frameworks understanding telecommunication sector and then creating some new economics there as well, and education sector. There